Hi everyone, I'm Gatesy Duke from Irons. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We have a very special guest with us today. We have James Sneddon from the Anvil. How are you, sir?
I'm very good, thank you.
Good, good. What's the weather like over there in sunny Canada, or is it not very sunny?
It is sunny right now. Actually, it's getting to plus temperatures. Apart from like yesterday when it was in the minuses, it's getting into plus temperatures, so the snow's melting. The only issue is you step outside the gaff and you just walk out and you just slid everywhere because it freezes overnight, but it's melting.
Listen,
you know,
that ain't normal. When you have to start a sentence with "we are getting into plus temperatures," that ain't normal, right?
well, it is to these lot. Depends where you are in country. Some places like have it minus 66, so I don't even know how to survive. I'd rather do loads of other things I can't even say on this chat than do that.
We'll say when we hit end broadcast, James.
Sounds like a plan.
And I get sued.
Yeah, you know. Okay, James. So for the benefit of anyone that's watching this and says, "I wonder who that very handsome young chap in the middle is between those two ugly, hairy-looking old men," tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, mate.
Don't be like that with him, mate. That was a bit harsh.
Hang on.
I'm actually 40. Just so you know, I'm actually 40. People who are watching this, I just look very young. You know, some people don't age.
I like it.
I'm like Benjamin
I'm only 28. I've just had a hard life.
It's the point West Ham's done that to him, people.
Being married a Tottenham fan.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, tell them a little bit about yourself,
I didn't say that. Don't let her watch this video for crying out loud.
Just to answer the question, yeah. So From the Anvil initially didn't start out as From the Anvil. It started out as my generic YouTube channel for all of my broadcasting videos. I actually went to journalism school, graduated with a broadcasting degree last year. And initially, I just put my demo tapes and things like that on there. They're still on the channel right now. But as things started to formalise and time went on, I thought maybe From the Anvil, which was a previous segment on it, could actually be formalised into something a bit more. So that's when I changed my old website into From the Anvil. It took about 5 hours of the day to do it. Just rebranded my whole YouTube channel. Started out doing things very simply. We were just using my headphones, but I invested into microphones, lighting, invested a bit more into YouTube channel with social media. And then also just did the thing of just making a video, sharing it with loads of Facebook groups and seeing if people responded. And generally, it's been very well received. My articles on the website are very well received. There's a link to that in the channel. The videos are generally very well received. And I think I've made quite a good success out of it on a budget.
Yeah, no, well, I have to say myself, I am a subscribed to your channel, as you well know. And for anyone that's watching that isn't subscribed to James's channel, I can thoroughly recommend it. He is a very, very articulate, very, very thoughtful young man. Speaks a lot of common sense. Very, very good and very in-depth analysis of players, matches, all the rest of it. So if you're not on there, guys, you got the YouTube, you got the Twitter, you got the Instagram. Get yourself over there, and you'll have a whale of a time, I'm sure.
Can I just quickly interject on one thing?
Yes.
Go for it.
I just want to praise you for your article that was on your Twitter page earlier, the Mark Noble one. I read that from start to finish. And I know I've seen comments from yourself about how you said it moved you to write it and how it was a little bit difficult in points.
Yeah,
fully understand, mate. Fully understand. It was a really, really good read. I obviously wanted to just say well done and thank you, because you really do sum up a lot of what, especially myself. I'm not going to talk for every West Ham fan, but certainly what I felt with what you put in there, it certainly summed up a lot of my understanding and my desire and belief for it. So no, great job, mate. Well done.
Yeah, thanks. I'd just like to add as well my written side of things. When I was even in school, my written element to things was my forte, and believe it or not, more than my YouTube channel was anyway. So the written stuff, I think, is generally well more received than my videos. I've also written professionally for West Ham's website from 6 years ago. I've written professionally for other blogs. Yeah, it's what's my, if you had to say, pursuant career, really.
Oh, fair play, well done.
Yeah, no, excellent work. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, before we get into the nuts and bolts, those of you that have watched these videos before know what's coming next, and I make no apologies for it whatsoever. Isla's Army. Isla Caton is a 6-year-old girl. She is suffering with a very rare form of childhood cancer called neuroblastoma. Now, this is a cancer that there is no treatment for it in this country on the NHS. Therefore, in order to try and save her life, her family have got to stop what they're doing, put their entire life on hold, and take this little girl wherever it is in the world that she needs to get treatment. Now, this is very, very expensive, very, very stressful at the best of times, let alone it happening in the middle of a global pandemic. These guys need our help more than most, I think it's fair to say. Now, whether you can donate £1, whether you can donate £10, £100, whatever, any donation, no matter how small, in fact, there is no such thing as a donation that is too small. It will be gratefully received, gratefully accepted by this family. You have there on the banner, the PayPal page, you have the Just Giving page. I would urge you, if there's anything you can do to put in the pot, please do so. And if you can't, because I understand times are tough, all I ask you to do is to share this far and wide on all your social media platforms. We need to try and keep the momentum going. So if you can't donate, not a problem. Thank you very much for your consideration, but please share it far and wide. I thank you very much for your attention. So, James, the reason we have you got you here is real simple. We are doing the tier list. Now, you're doing the short form version, which is 25 players, 4 categories. So for the benefit of those watching for this for the first time, the categories are as follows. At the top, we have long-term futures, 3+ seasons. So these are players that if you were David Moyes in the summer, you would look at and think, right, I've got another 3 or more seasons with this player, all things being equal. The next category down is 1 or 2 seasons. So these are players that you think I might get another season out of, possibly into a second season, but realistically, I'm not going to get anything more than that, and they're surplus to requirements from that point on. The next category down is players that you're not sure about one way or the other. These are players that could literally go into any of the other categories, but you're not entirely sure which one they fit into right now. The last one at the bottom, pretty brutal, I'm afraid. See ya. Does exactly what it says on the tin. These are players that you look at and you know are surplus to requirements at the London Stadium. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get down to it. So, James, first on the list, we're going alphabetically to begin with. There is a plot twist later on, though. Felipe Anderson, tell me your thoughts.
Honestly, see ya.
Yeah.
And it pain. Go ahead.
No, crack on.
It does pay me to say see you to Felipe Anderson, because he had a really good start to life at West Ham, but after New Year, I don't know what had been going on with him, but he'd only had 2 goals in the space of 12 months in the Premier League. I think he's one of those flair, fancy players that was good for the Pellegrini era, but isn't good for the Moyes era. The fact that he's going out to Porto to try and prove himself was fair enough at the time, but he's not done anything but just rot on the bench there. I think that if we kept him on in the team, it would be one, draining wages, which is what we probably don't want, and he'd just end up on the bench for nothing. So Felipe Anderson, I'm afraid he's got to go.
He's in the bin, and I don't think you're the first one, if memory serves me correctly. Am I right there, Duke?
Yeah, I think I'm the only one. Maybe one other that might have put him in the not sure. I if he could come back and we could get a tune out of him that was he'd learn to do things the Moyes way, but like James, it's the wages. It's a lot of money that if he does come back and we use him as a squad player for touchwood European football. So yeah. No, the more I think about it and the more I listen to everyone else's, conversations around it, I'm beginning to more that wish that I'd kind of dropped him down a level on mine and put him in the senior pile, to be fair.
Fair enough, mate. Well, it's too late. You've done it now. Can't go back. Okay, next on the list, we've got Michail Antonio. James, your thoughts?
Well, long-term future for sure because of the new contract and the fact that I'll even go as far as saying he's one of our best ever Premier League strikers. He's on course to become West Ham's all-time top Premier League goal scorer. He needs 5 more goals to do that. He's not had it his way with injuries, but that is again typical West Ham, having injured players and massive injury lists. That's not necessarily his fault, but it's the way that he's come back into the team and he's still going strong. He's got 7 goals this season so far. We know what happened last season after lockdown when he came back and couldn't stop scoring. Michail Antonio is a very vital part of the team. So he's definitely got a long-term future, not only for his contract, but just for the player that he is.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Michail Antonio is integral to the team right now, and 5, like you say, five goals off of becoming our all-time Premier League top goal scorer. Yeah, brilliant. I love the geezer. So in a completely non-gay way. I've got nothing against, but yeah, just clear that one up.
Well, you didn't even need to say that. You didn't need to say that.
No. There you go. Just in case anyone was wondering. I'm a happily married man.
Dangerous waters with that.
Always. Fabian Balbuena.
Not sure, really, on Fabian Balbuena. Because there is talk to get rid of him that wants to go back to South America, but at the same time, he's been a very good defender for us, not only with his leadership aspect, but he scored goals for us. He scored in the 3-3 draw against Tottenham earlier in the season. No one had heard of him before he came to West Ham, but he's been a good player for us. So if he does go in the summer, I totally understand it, because I know that Moyes wants to bring Alves up into the team and bring up the young Danish defender up into the team. But Balbuena, I'd like to keep him, but I can understand why he'd go. Yeah,
no, I think the rumours are that he's on the way out, and that is at his own sort of like behest. So if that's the case, if he wants to go, I think you have to sort of wish him well, thank him for his service, and on your way. Yeah. On to the next one, Saeed Benrahma.
Long-term future. And the reason being, because I think I said this after on the aftermath of the Leeds game, I think he's an engine behind our counter-attacking system, similar to like what Firmino is with Liverpool. He's that kind of player because of his creativity, versatility, skill set, and overall well-roundedness. Benrahma's got a long-term future here at West Ham, and he's a vital part of the team. Yes, people have said Moyes didn't really want him, but I think Moyes is starting to accept that Benrahma has got a place in the team.
Yeah. Anything you want to add there, Duke?
No, I mean, we've all heard me chat on about how I feel about Benny. I think he's coming into his own. I mean, I mentioned exactly the same as what you said there, buddy. He wasn't a Moyes signing, in my opinion. When he first came in, he wasn't a Moyes signing, as I alluded to on other channels. If you look at Moyes' old Everton team, he didn't have a huge amount of flair players. I don't think he knows how to. I don't think he knows how to get the greatest sort of, generate the best sort of success with those flair players. You look at what he had at Everton. Fellaini, Cahill. They weren't flair players. They were dogged, determined. Stuck in the challenge, kind of dirty work kind of players. So I think Benrahma's learning to be able to do both sides of that. Of the game in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think next season will be his make or break season, and I think he's got all the talent in the world. So I'm confident that next season, if not what's left of this season, we're going to see a much a more Premier League Benrahma. I think he'll be acclimatised fully by then. So
that's fair enough.
As with this gentleman who also came from the Championship, Jared Bowen.
You know, when you say Jared Bowen, I just think of West Ham clips with Jesus going, Arian Bowen. That is incredible. That's what comes into my head when someone says I should put that on the big board at London Stadium every time he scores or assists.
Yeah, why not?
Actually, it'd be funny. But yeah, Jared Bowen, I'm going to say 1 or 2 seasons for Bowen.
Okay.
Controversial.
And let me tell you why I'm not going to say long term, because Bowen has been rather hit and miss this season. Yeah, he started off the season really, really well, but he's lacked in goals since then. I know that he had 16 goals in 29 games in the Championship, but Championship's different style and different league to the Premier League. I'm not saying that he's not competent to play in the Premier League. That's not true, but Bowen, 1 or 2 seasons to see if he can still progress in the team. I think he's got a role to play in the team. I'm not slagging him off at all. I'm not saying that he doesn't have a long-term future, but I want to see how he does over the next season or 2 in terms of his consistency.
Of course, and the thing is, it's a movable feast. You know, I mean, if you're David Moyes and you're looking at Bowen and thinking in the summer, I think probably as things stand at the minute, 1 or 2 seasons. It may be that a season down the track, you're looking and thinking, no, actually now he's moved up a tier and he's now someone that I'm thinking is going to be here a little bit longer than that, or alternatively he might go the other way. So no, I think that's an entirely sensible view in my opinion, James, on Bowen. The next one, Vladimir Soufal.
Long-term future has to be in the long-term future. Geezer's quality.
I don't think there's anyone that's put him anywhere else, I don't think, or very, very few.
Well, yeah, don't blame him. He's a solid right back. Absolutely solid right back. We've been looking for a decent right back replacement, I think, since Tompkins left. Because yes, we had Zabaleta, but he was getting older. Sam Byram now didn't obviously cut it. Arbeloa wasn't the right sign-in. We just needed the right back signing to come in. Fredericks, yeah, we had that, but we needed someone who had the defensive solidity, and that's what Soufal provides. He's got a long-term future in the team.
Yeah, no, I think the geezer's great. And I mean, it's come out this week, didn't it, that he's, even on his days off, he's going into training. Yeah. And I mean, it's just what a work ethic. And, you know, I hope that that's rubbing off on the other players, that they maybe taking a leaf out of his book. And sort of like maybe that even spreads down to the academy players. I know they don't train at Rush Green, they're sort of more at Chadwell Heath, but I'm sure they'll hear about it and sort of like maybe they'll sort of like think, well, if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. So, you know, it all transfers down, all good. Aaron Cresswell's next one on the hit list, James.
Long-term future based off of this season.
Yeah.
Very impressed with him this season. Cresswell's a good left back to have, and that's the bottom line of it. That's point blank period. He's a good left back to have. He's got 7 assists for us in the Premier League this season. He's really just stepped up his attacking side of the game a lot more. He's more involved, so to speak. Last season, he was giving away careless crosses, which were leading to goals. This season, I think he's taken some of the criticism on board and used it to adapt his game. I like Cresswell. That's the bottom line. He's got a long-term future here.
He's in top tier list. So we move on. Our next one on the list is actually not a West Ham player technically, Craig Dawson.
I was torn on Craig Dawson. For his age, I want to say 1 or 2 season for that. But I'm putting him 1 or 2 seasons based on his age. And that's not being ageist. That's just the fact that thing with the West Ham defence is, although we've got good people in there to defend, the defence overall is knocking on, if you think about it, because Balbuena's nearly 30, Fredericks is 30. Ogbonna's 33, Dawson's turning 31 this year. We've got quite an old defence, so we need to look at younger players in those realms. And we've got Ben Johnson, who's obviously on the list on there. We've got players such as Jamal Baptiste and Frederick Alvarez, who I mentioned earlier. I want Dawson in the team, and I do think he's got a future in the team because he's a very solid defender. They're calling him the Blue Passport Beckenbauer on West Ham clips. But he's 1 or 2 seasons in there for sure. He's definitely going to have a place in the team.
No, he's in. No problem at all. So, next one, Issa Diop.
Issa Diop, 1 or 2 seasons, I think.
Okay.
But it's a Diop. Because he had something. He had something in terms of height. He had something from set pieces. He has offers something in marking. I've read people saying that they should fob him off in the summer. I don't agree with that. I think he's got something to have in the team, and he's good at heading the ball. Very well at filling in Ogbonna's absence, and also it's the added depth. Yeah.
No. All good.
Can I do my usual, Casey?
Do it.
Before I have to jump off and make my appearance for another channel. I'm not sure if you saw, James.
You didn't run this by me. What are you getting an appearance for?
Listen, I've been offered a trial over at West Ham Unofficial.
What was standing in your way?
No, James. It came out the other day on the Hammers News website that potentially Diop could be used in a slightly different way, and that the answer to Moyes' central defensive lack of quality, if you will. We all know that his legs are slowed up a bit, and Fornell's not. I'm not saying he can't play that role, but not necessarily would be ideal to put him there. They actually mentioned Diop would be a pretty good replacement for one of those two players. Should there be an injury or should they need resting, that he could fit in the role of a deep line midfielder or a CDM, however you want to put it. They kind of likened his gait and his running style to that of Patrick Vieira. And it's just something, the more I've thought about it, and I've asked others that have done this tier list over the last few nights, that how would you feel about that if maybe we all know that Moyes has managed to do it a couple of times already. Like I said, Arnautovic was one, Antonio's been the other. And if I remember right,
even further back.
Yeah, and even Declan Rice, because I'm pretty sure Declan Rice was at centre-back when Moyes came in initially, and he dropped him forward. Would it be something that you'd possibly even, if you were in Moyes' shoes at the end of the season, pre-season next year, maybe sit down and work with him on that that side of it? Yeah,
at the very least, you could put him in as a defensive midfielder at the very least. I'm not sure about an attacking midfielder or anything like that, but just a solid centre mid or a defensive mid for sure.
Yeah, like the two boys we've got in Sochek or Declan Rice. I mean, he knows how to carry the ball forward. Yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad someone else agrees with me. I like it.
He likes that.
I didn't have to.
Good.
Cheers, mate.
Lucas Fabianski. 1 or 2 seasons.
Yeah.
For Lucas Fabianski. Again, don't want to be ageist, but he is 36 years old this year. And I had said it on my own channel, we need to start looking at a younger goalkeeper, because our 3 goalkeepers with Martin, Randolph and Fab, they're all over the age of 33 years old. And Nathan Trott's considerably younger. We need to look at other goalkeeping options. I think it just gives us that bit more time to maybe find the right replacement without rushing into things. Yeah. So having Fabianski, 1 or 2 more seasons for him. Solid goalkeeper, love him to death.
Yeah, I think that's entirely sensible. And again, 12 months down the line, you could revisit it. The situation would be different in 12 months. Who knows? Yeah. You could move him on, keep him on for another 12 months. All sorts of options you could explore. Yeah. Next one, Pablo Fornals.
Long term. And he has been someone that's been under the firing line, hasn't he? Because of how he was playing last season. I think he's been through a lot. I think mentally he was through a lot, because he'd been living on his own for a long periods of time in the coronavirus. His girlfriend was stuck in Spain. Spent Christmas on his own this year as well. He's had a mental struggle, I think. And with Pablo Fornals this season, very good midfielder, not just on the wing. Like we said earlier, being changed position, changing from attacking midfield to a winger, it's given him that more flow. It's given him that more ground to cover from one straight angle rather than cover a bigger area. So his primary focus is just on one sideline rather than the whole midfield, and it's working to his advantage. He's embracing that a lot more. He's playing more confidently. He's trying new things as well. Fornals has to have a long-term future in the team, also because he's 25 years old. He's got some of his best years to come.
Do you think And I think I've said this on a previous one of the tier list series to one of the other contributors. Do you think that he's a large part of the reason for the renaissance in the form of Aaron Cresswell?
Yes. Actually, you make a good point there, Gatesy. Yeah, I never thought. Yeah, I think he has, because both of them link up really well. Cresswell's not having to be too responsible on his own half of the wing. Fornals is helping him out a bit. Cresswell actually assisted Fornals' goal against Leicester in the 3-0 win as well. So they're linking up quite well. And I think, Fornals, helps out Cresswell.
Yeah, no, I think he was kind of exposed last season in the fact that, I mean, fair enough, he might have lost a little bit of pace, as we all do as we get older. It is what it is. But I think it was a bit of a double whammy that he lost a little bit of pace and he had Felipe Anderson in front of him a lot of the time.
And it's just Felipe Anderson's just too much trickery, flippy floppy stuff.
Yeah. Lots
kind
of
of defeats the purpose of Fornals' game.
Yeah. So no, I think Pablo Fornals has been absolutely key to getting the best out of Aaron Cresswell. So
indeed,
no, I think he's great. I know he's a bit of a polarizing character, but no, I completely agree. I think he's 25 years of age, and I think his best is still yet to come. So Ryan Fredericks,
1 or 2 season. I'll tell you why, because I think as a right back option, he's never really had a bad game, and he's good to go in when we're playing big teams like Man City, Man United, and even when we did against Villa. He's better to play on the wing instead of Bowen and have Sofal as his backup, because the thing with the team, and I've mentioned this so many times, I feel like I repeat myself when I say this. The team has a lot of interdependence through Moyes, and interdependence being that the players can help each other out because of different qualities. And what you have with Sofal and Fredericks is you have an attacking player who can focus on the wing, and Sofal who can focus on his sole defensive job rather than having to go forward like he did in other games, trying to score with one-on-ones. But that's why I'd keep Fredericks in the team. He's never really had a bad game, and he adds the pace when it's needed.
Yeah, I mean, he was quite unlucky when you look at it. He had the 2 games at the beginning of the season, which, all right, we lost both of them, but he was one of our standout players in the game at home to Newcastle and away to Arsenal. He then got the injury in the game at home to Wolves that followed that. And, of course, we then went out and bought Sofal, and it was a bit of a sliding doors moment, because you think, if he didn't get the injury, do we buy Sofal? Maybe, maybe not. But even if he does come in, given that he'd played 2 and a bit games to a good standard, probably Sofal starts on the bench, and he's got to wait for either Fredericks to have an injury, loss of form, whatever, before he makes a breakthrough. So, yeah, it was a real sliding doors moment for Fredericks. I know a lot of people give him stick about maybe defensively he's not quite so sound, and I completely accept that. And yes, I would say Sofal's the better defender. But I think Fredericks, especially if we qualify for Europe next season, I think Fredericks could have a vital role in the squad over the course of the season. So, moving swiftly along, Ben Johnson.
Gentlemen, just before we carry on there, I'm going to have to shoot off because I'm due over on the other channel. James, thank you for coming on and doing these, buddy. This is much appreciated. Thank you for all your help that we've had.
No worries.
On getting this going and kicking it off, and the help you've offered me and Gatesy. But no doubt I'll be in touch, and we'll do a couple more videos together. We'll come over to you, come over to us, and we'll carry on, buddy.
Yeah, sure.
I'll speak to you soon. Yeah, we'll do, Gatesy. Take it easy.
All right, so who we got next? We've got Ben
next on the list
Johnson.
is Ben Johnson. Yeah,
long term.
Bang.
Because you have to be, he's 21 years old, and he can play on either side as a right back or a left back. He can play either full back position in any real defensive role. Ben Johnson has to have a long-term future at his club. If Moyes really wants to have his RB Leipzig model, he needs to keep these young players in. Ben Johnson's got to stay in.
What's his best position in your opinion, James? Left or right full back?
Left, in my opinion. I've seen him play on the left a few more times. Pocketed Aguero on the left. Did a decent job in the game against Brighton, scoring his first Premier League goal. His positional awareness and marking are quite key, and I think he does it well.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Couldn't agree more. So, moving on, we got Manuel Lanzini.
City.
Go on, give me some meat on the bones there, mate.
The Lanzini thing. If you were doing this to me in 2017, I would have said he's got a long-term future. But now, since he got injured, he's not been the same kind of player. The club actually knew that he wasn't going to be the same kind of player after he tore his ACL and hurt himself before the World Cup. So that's why we continue to sign him onto the long-term deal. Manuel Lanzini, can see him going. I thank him for everything that he's done. He's been a really good player, and I'll be one of our best over the last few seasons. But I don't think he's going to have any more role in the team if he's not starting.
No, fair enough, mate. No problem. Moving on, we've got again another player that's not technically ours, but Jesse Lingard.
I'd sign him up and keep him for 1 or 2 seasons, 2 being that number.
1 or 2 seasons.
Yes.
Okay, no problem.
I'd keep Jesse Lingard in because he seems to love this club already. He's thriving under David Moyes. I don't think he'd get back into the Man United team necessarily, good with Bruno Fernandes and then wanting other midfield targets. And it wouldn't be fair just to put him in Man United if he's just going to be shipped out on loan all the time. He loves the club. He's really boding well with everybody. The reason I say 1 or 2 seasons is because he's 28 years old right now, soon to turn 29. And Moyes, like I say, wants the younger team. So I don't think we can keep him 3+ seasons and have it a major risk.
The only thing I'd say, I hear what you're saying. Yes, he's 28 years of age. However, in terms of career appearances, I believe he's only made about. In fact, I can tell you, he has made 266 career appearances in all competitions. So, would you suggest that maybe that being the case, that he has a bit more fuel left in the tank than the average 28-year-old?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm not saying that he's not got I'm not saying that he hasn't got any fuel left. I'm just saying that 1 or 2. I'd give him 1 or 2 more seasons to. Well, he's already got his place in the team, but I'd just give him 1 or 2 more seasons. I'm not saying that he's losing it or anything because he's been quality for us. Obviously, 4 goals and 6 appearances, but just 1 or 2 more seasons is what I'm going for.
No, that's fine, mate. Not a problem. Like I say, I'm just playing devil's advocate. Okay, moving on. So, next one on the list is David Martin.
Unfortunately, see you.
Yeah.
And he lived a dream by following his dad's footsteps playing for West Ham, had that emotional debut against Chelsea. But, I don't think he's going to ever make an appearance again for us, really.
Yeah, I think with the best will in the world, I think that's probably completely fair. I mean, he had his sort of fairy tale moment, as you say. Stamford Bridge kept a clean sheet. We were struggling. Roberto obviously was not doing so well in the team. Obviously, we were getting dragged down. Kept the clean sheet at Stamford Bridge. He goes to the ground at the final whistle, to his knees, tears. He's getting the slaps on the backs from his teammates, and then going into the stands to be embraced by his father, who represented the club for 20-odd years. So it was a fantastic moment. But I think, you're right. As far as him being a West Ham player is concerned, he's not realistically going to get too much time on the pitch, is he?
No,
unless there's sort of like a major sort of like injury crisis or anything like that. I'd like to see the club try and find him if it can be done and if he's agreeable to it. Finding a role at the club in some sort of goalkeeping coach capacity, but
it could work.
He may want to continue his career sort of maybe in Championship, League One sort of level, which, if he does, then fair enough. On we go. Arthur Masawaku.
Long-term future.
Okay.
Vital part of the team even before he got injured. It's the fact that he's a classic attacking left wing back. He's made that position his own. Manuel Pellegrini didn't rate Masawaku because Masawaku didn't fit that system. Masawaku didn't really fit the system, but Moyes has found a way for Masawaku to incorporate himself into the team. I think Masawaku's a very good left back option. Well, not necessarily a left back, but it goes back to that interdependence thing. He released Cresswell of all attacking duties. Cresswell knows that he can trust Masawaku to go forward with the ball without Cresswell having to do it. So, Masawaku's got a long-term future at the club. He's a very underrated player in the past, and he's showing why he's worth what he's worth now.
Fair enough, mate. No problem. This is where I deviate because we've gone alphabetically at this point, but now I'm going to make a slight detour, and we're going to go the other end. You're Andrei Yarmolenko.
City.
Boom.
Injuries have Andriy Yarmolenko, I knew about him even before he joined Borussia Dortmund. I knew that he was one of the best players in Eastern Europe with Dynamo Kiev. So he's only come to West Ham, started off very brightly, but got injured. He's not been the same since. It's a recurring theme with West Ham. There's players that are good coming in, getting injured, and then going down the pan. We just don't need it anymore. I mean, he's got a deadly left foot, and he scored memorable goals against Everton and started the 2019-20 season in Chelsea. But nah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm fairly sure, and I'd have to go back and look at it all, but I'm fairly sure that everybody so far has put Yarmolenko where you've just put him. There's a common theme emerging. So I think his days at West Ham are numbered if that's anything to go by. Moving on, we've got the potato salad king himself, Thomas Sochek.
Long term, please. Has to be long term. Because another one of these diamonds in the rough. Brilliant player. Unreal player. My brother texted me saying that he's unreal. The Sochek's just unreal. My brother doesn't support West Ham, he supports Arsenal, but I said that Sochek's just unreal kind of player. He's got a lot to offer in terms of set pieces, midfield threat, tackling. Very energetic player who, he's our leading goal scorer in the Premier League right now as well. So he's got all the good signs there.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? 19 million quid from Slavia Prague, and the rumor is that Barcelona want to give us 26 million. I mean, for a deep lying midfielder that's got 11 goals.
If he went to somewhere
year,
like Barca or Bayern Munich, I don't think he'd even start for him.
Possibly not, but I mean, if we're going to enter into sort of like, negotiations with a club, 26 million is your starting price, really. Seriously, I just think, name me another deep lying midfielder that can score 11 goals in a calendar year.
I can't really.
Exactly. So
not off the top
26
of my head.
million. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah. But there you go. Moving on, we've got Zanday Silva. Now he's currently on loan at Aris Thessaloniki.
Great pronunciation. I think the club doesn't even seem to rate him.
No.
So that's that. Club doesn't seem to rate him. So I talk about what he did in the Premier League too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, he's not even been a rip-roaring success, because someone asked me yesterday. They said, "How's he doing in the Greek league?" And I had a look. 20, and I don't know whether they're starts or sub appearances and how many minutes he's played, but just looking at it, he's made 23 appearances, 3 goals. It's not really sort of like a difficult league if you're of a decent standard, in my opinion, the Greek league. And that's what he's sort of like doing there. So what makes you think that he's going to come to the Premier League and rip it up? I just don't see it. So I think there's, he's heading for the exit door for me as well. But moving on, we've got I say the club captain. He's the team captain at the moment in the absence of Mark Noble, Declan Rice.
Long term, has to be a long term future.
Yeah. You can't really
he's got to
make a case for putting him anywhere else, can you?
You can't really. He's going to be the core of this team for the next few years as a captain, as a leader, and as a player. And we've got to do everything we can to keep hold of him.
Yeah, I agree. Here's a little something for you. And I've had this conversation with a few people, and when I've said this, some people have recoiled in horror at the very thought. I've put forward the idea that we make Declan Rice our highest paid player once Mark Noble has retired, and we give him the club captaincy. Because for me, I believe if you are the club captain, you should be the highest paid player, period.
Yes.
Now, what I would also suggest as a way of demonstrating to him what he means to the club, to the fans, everyone, would be to approach the Moore family and ask them permission to unretire the number 6 shirt and give it to Declan Rice. And we only do it with the Moore family's agreement. I have to say, we don't just do it without their approval. If they approve, give him the number 6 shirt.
No, I would just keep him with the number 41 and make the number 41 jersey his own. No, honestly.
Fair enough.
Probably Moore made number 6 his own. Why can't Declan Rice make 41 his own? Everyone associating with number 41.
Good answer. Like it. Only thing is, he's not going to wear number 41 at the World Cup.
Well, no.
Or the Euros.
He's going to wear like number 16.
Yeah. So there you go. Okay, we move on. Winston Reed. I think I know where he's probably going to go.
Sadly, see you.
Yeah.
It's sad because he's been one of our best defenders of my generation. He's our second longest serving player, but I don't see him getting back into the team really, and it's a shame because Reed's given us some fantastic memories. Goal against Millwall, last ever goal at the Bowling Ground. He's been an important player for West Ham, but unfortunately, injuries have got up to him. I don't think he's got a future at West Ham.
No, he seems to be doing quite well for Brentford. Obviously, I know it's in the Championship. I hope that, if he stays with Brentford, I hope Brentford get promoted, because it'd be quite nice to see him back at London Stadium, albeit in a different shirt from Claret and Blue. But, I mean, he's been a fantastic servant for the club. I mean, injuries have just done for him. It's as simple as that. So
it's the case of a lot of West Ham players, though.
Oh, isn't it just? Mate, the list is too long. The list is too long.
It's a joke.
Oh, God. Okay, we got 3 players left. Darren Randolph.
Not sure with Darren Randolph.
Yeah.
Because I want Nathan Trott to be like a backup goalie and to get some playing time, but Darren Randolph's still a really solid second choice. His distribution's really good.
So in the not sure pile, mate, you're not too sure, is he going to go one way or the other? So we've got 2 players left. Angelo Ogbonna.
1 or 2 seasons for Angelo Ogbonna. So a great defender, and he's been an absolute rock for us this season. But he's 33 years old. We need to look at some good replacement options for him for the long term, I think.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. I mean, at 32, going on 33, it's like, how long realistically is he going to carry on for? I mean, and you never know. He could carry on for another 3 years. But then again, next season might be his last, and you're not quite sure when players get to that age. So I think you're right to tread carefully. Next player, last player on the list, the club captain, legend of West Ham. He's just announced in the last day or two that he's going to sign a new 1-year extension, which will take him into his 18th season as a club, which will then be his last. 520 club appearances and 60 club goals. We give you Mr. West Ham, Canning Town's own, Mark Noble.
1 or 2 more seasons because of what you said, and it's sad it's going to be sad. That last 2 seasons is going to be really sad. He's going to make every single moment of that count. And Mark Noble, I wrote in my article on my website, he's grown into a man thanks to West Ham. He's learned how to deal with emotions. He's learned how to deal with pressure and stress. He's learned that good times and bad times happen with what you do for your job. I think now he's put a lot into West Ham, and there's what people that have suffered the most have been his biggest fans in his own family. He just wants to be dad to his kids and husband to his wife, and that's why I've spoken to them about the decision. But I do want him back at the club as either a coach or some kind of ambassador. There's no way that he can just be, fobbed off and riding off into the sunset.
I heard a story a while ago, and I don't know the validity of it or where it came or anything like that. But there was talk that apparently he would like the idea of a director of football role.
Oh, yeah. Well, you need someone that knows the core value of West Ham, and he's got to be in the club either way. That's one option.
Yeah. I always worry a little bit with club legends becoming managers down the track. And I look at Billy Bonds, for example, club captain, 2-time FA Cup winner, and became the manager and had a bit of a hard time. And I think when Trevor Brooking came in as the caretaker manager, and there was a big clamour for him to become the manager, I think he was quite sensible and sort of thought, well, is there a chance that if I take this on and it goes badly wrong, does it taint my legacy as a West Ham legend, sort of thing? So it's a difficult one, isn't it? Which side do you come down on? I mean, it's like going slightly across London, Frank Lampard. He's become manager of Chelsea. He's a legend at that club. It hasn't worked out for him. So
I can't really see Mark Noble being a future West Ham manager at this present time. I could see Scott Parker doing it for sure, but not Mark Noble right now.
Yeah. No, I think Scott Parker would be a good shout, in all fairness. He's doing a good job at Fulham. So, and there goes the smoke alarm. Brilliant.
No, I thought that was me for a second. I was like, what?
No, that's here. Brilliant. That's the cooking.
It came at perfect timing, actually, to let you know. Oh yeah, so, and that's the end of that, folks.
Yeah, brilliant. Couldn't stripped it better. So okay, right. So moving on. Just before we finish, guys, two things to say. This is James Sneddon from the Anvil. As I said right at the beginning, you've got YouTube, you've got Twitter, you've got Instagram. Fill your boots. His YouTube channel in particular, I'm a subscriber of myself. As I say, he is a very articulate, very considered, thoughtful young man with a lot of good opinions, a lot of common sense points. He goes into very good detail about players, matches. You know, it's all there, guys. Have a look, and I can thoroughly recommend it to you. The last thing I want to say is the usual shout out to Isla's Army. For those of you watching that don't know, she's a 6-year-old girl, Isla Caton, who has neuroblastoma, which is a rare type of cancer that particularly affects children. There is no treatment for this in the NHS in this country. Her family, therefore, have to put their entire life on hold, cart this poor little girl all over the world to get the treatment that she needs to save her life. This is a very, very expensive, stressful time for her family, let alone in a global pandemic, ladies and gentlemen. It's an absolute hell on earth. They need our help. If all you can donate is £1, that will be accepted, and we'll be done so with great gratitude. The more you can donate, great, that's fine. But, if it's £1, it's £1. And if you can't donate £1, ladies and gentlemen, then all I ask you to do is to share this far and wide. You have a PayPal page there. You have a Just Giving page there. And I ask you to give as generously as you can. Thank you very much indeed for your attention. So, James, we've come to the end, my friend.
Yes, we have.
Thank you very much indeed. We're just going to, for the people, before I knock it on the head, we're just going to real quickly go through what you've done. So, in the long-term future 3+ seasons, we've got Michael Antonio, Saeed Ben Rama, Vladimir Soufal, Aaron Cresswell, Pablo Fornals, Ben Johnson, Arthur Masawaku, Thomas Sochek, and Declan Rice. 1 or 2 seasons, we have Jared Bowen, Craig Dawson, Issa Diop, Lucas Fabianski, Ryan Fredericks, Jesse Lingard, Angelo Ogbonna, and Mark Noble. The not sure category, we have Fabian Balbuena and Darren Randolph. And in the senior pile, being binned, Felipe Anderson, Manuel Lanzini, David Martin, Andrei Yarmolenko, Zanday Silva, and Winston Reed. There we go. So, James, thanks very much for coming along, my friend. It's been an absolute blast.
Thank
you very much indeed. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the tier list from James Sneddon from the Anvil. As usual, you've got the comment section below. Pick the bones out of that. So let us know what you think, what you agree with, what you disagree with, and the reasons behind it. Thank you very much for your time. Also, you can find us on Twitter, Forge Talk, and Facebook, Forge from Irons. As usual, like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon, and you will be notified as and when any new content is put up by either Duke or myself. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Only one thing left to say. On to Old Trafford, 3 points. Champions League qualification. Here we come. Come on, you Irons.